Our support of Aggie students goes beyond just banking. By supporting News22, we're giving back to the community. Wells Fargo. Together, we'll go far.
Tonight on News 22, we'll show you the Veterans Day Parade from this past weekend.
Local veterans are being recognized in a TV special.
And a long-running musical tradition returns to Las Cruces.
All that and more on News 22 Tuesday.
Serving southern New Mexico, this is the award-winning KRWG-TV News 22, where news matters.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Stephanie Muñiz.
And I'm Mike Vigil.
The NMSU Board of Regents is finishing up the listening tour and have approved the committee that will look for the next chancellor of the university.
The main goal of the 19-member committee is to come up with a pool of candidates and present finalists to the Board of Regents. The committee includes members who are internal and external to the university. About 56% of the internal members have been tenured. Most of the external members are NMSU alum. Las Cruces veterans are feeling the support from the community after this Veterans Day weekend.
Hundreds of Las Crucens gathered downtown on Main Street in the late morning on Saturday for the city's annual Veterans Day Parade. News 22's Selena Quintana has more on the story.
On the 11th hour of the 11th day, on the 11th month, many veterans and others paraded down Main Street in celebration of those who have served our country. Las Crucens lined up the streets to cheer on veterans and their families as they passed by in trailers, historic cars, motorcycles, floats, and even large military trucks. Army veteran Juan Lujan says he and other veterans appreciate what the community does for them, even if they don't ask for it.
We appreciate it, and I think it's good like that. We don't want to feel like we don't want the community to feel like they owe us something. I mean, we volunteer for it and we want to do it. So when they do something, we appreciate it. That's really what it's about. Just, when the community reaches out to us, we just want to know that let them know that we appreciate it.
Lujan says this isn't the only event he goes to. He attends events involving veterans throughout the year.
I try to, like the local schools, when they recognize our veterans or when they have parades or anything like that, I try to attend.
Selena Quintana, News 22.
The parade marked the end of a week-long appreciation of veterans. One challenge vets can face after turning to civilian life is financial stability.
News 22's Aaron Griego reports.
Oh, they're the little tiny ones.
The Military and Veterans Program at NMSU has lots of options to help veterans pay their way. There's tuition assistance from both state and federal governments. There are also special internship programs and other benefits that can help with housing expenses. But the most well-known benefit is the GI Bill, which helps to pay tuition. Philip Johnston served in the Marines from 2014 to 2016. He now works in the Military and Veterans Program Office to help other veterans.
I did 4 years of service, and I was actually a tanker. I was in an M1A1 main battle tank.
He says the GI Bill is what enables him to come to college.
I knew that it would sometimes be a struggle, but for the most part, I knew I could always make it through it.
Director of the Military and Veterans Program, Hector Sanchez, encourages more military and veteran students to take advantage of their benefits.
Well, it's really gratifying because what we're trying to do here at New Mexico State is help them transition from being in the military to having a civilian life, and where they can help their families and help themselves through good college education.
He says being a working student doesn't have to be hard, and when it comes to financial stability, veterans shouldn't have to worry about paying for their schooling.
Aaron Griego, News 22.
A three-part documentary airing on KRWG is also honoring the state's Vietnam veterans. Yesterday, NMSU's public broadcasting station aired the first of 3 episodes of the documentary series named Our Stories, Vietnam. It tells the stories of 15 veterans from around the Las Cruces area. The second part of the series will air at 7 p.m. here on KRWG right after the newscast. And it was another hot one here in Las Cruces.
It sure was. Let's see what's next with weather with Andres.
You guys are right. It was another warm day, well above average. Right now, temperatures are only at 69 degrees, which is actually usually our high average for this time of year. You can change it over to the next map and we can show you what we saw today. We saw a high of 82 degrees, which again, like I said, well above average. We even topped our record. In 2007, we hit 80 degrees, so we beat that for today. If you're not telling me global warming's real, I don't know about you, but it kind of is. We do have a cold front coming up this week. I'll let you know how that's going to affect your weekend plans coming up.
Facebook is expanding its investment in New Mexico by adding 4 more buildings to the company's new data center. It announced it will build a total of 6 buildings covering 2.8 million square feet in Los Lunas. This boosts the total investment to $1 billion. Governor Martinez says the state will see tens of millions of dollars in revenue from gross receipts tax during construction alone. Facebook broke ground on the new data center in October 2016. Officials say it will be one of the most advanced centers in the world. And the CEO of Arca Space Corporation, Dmitry Popescu, is being held at the Doniana Detention Center after being arrested last week in Jonesboro, Georgia. Popescu allegedly defrauded Michael Perisco, the CEO and founder of NOV Technologies. Popescu has been booked on 12 counts of fraud, 3 counts of embezzlement, and 1 count of misleading filings. According to jail records, he's currently being held without bond. The Arca CEO is a native of Romania and is not known if he has hired an attorney.
A man is in jail accused of holding a 14-year-old girl against her will and sexually assaulting her. Police say the girl ran from her home after arguing with a relative and hid behind a trailer owned by 34-year-old Johnny Lopez. Police say Lopez saw the girl and hid and told police she had fled. He then took her in his home, threatened her with a gun, and sexually assaulted her. She later escaped and went to the police. Lopez is in jail, held without bond. And a candidate for Steve Pierce's House C is facing legal trouble after being arrested for stalking a Santa Fe woman. David Alcon was arrested Friday after a warrant was issued on a felony stalking charge. Police say the woman reported in late October that Alcon sent her messages saying he loved her and she better not leave. He also sent pictures of his genitals and messages suggesting he was watching her at her apartment. Alcon is a Democrat from Grants, and he wants to replace Steve Pierce, who's giving up his seat to run for governor.
New Mexico's Libertarian Party may have an easier time getting candidates on the ballot in 2018. This after former Governor Gary Johnson got more than 5% of the vote in the state during his 2016 presidential run. This means Libertarians now have major party status in the state. Candidates now only need 230 signatures to run for governor and 77 for Congress. This is much lower than previous requirements. The party's chairman says 5 people are interested in the nomination for governor. Experts now believe a photo purchased at a flea market shows Billy the Kid with the lawman who killed him. A North Carolina man says experts in forensics and facial recognition have verified the picture after several months of examination. Frank Abrams of Asheville says he first noticed 2 years ago that 2 men in the group photo looked like Billy the Kid and Lincoln County Sheriff Pat Garrett, who fatally shot the kid in Fort Sumner in 1881. Abrams, a self-described history buff, bought the photo for just $10. It's now worth at least $5 million.
You can now have a piece of the Zool collection at your home all year round. For only $10, you can get to enjoy specimens, pictures from Herb and Joanne's Zool's geological collection throughout the year. This collection is also displayed at the NMSU Library, Zool Museum, Gardner Hall, and other locations on campus. You can place your calendar order by calling the number on your screen.
And stay tuned, Andres is next with your national forecast.
And when we come back, the Las Cruces tradition returns to the city. More on that when News 22 continues.
Las Cruces and El Paso share a lot of history. See why we say Texas history begins in El Paso on our El Paso Gold Heritage documentary series, broadcast Sunday nights on KRWG-TV. See Legends of El Paso's Mountains, Gunfights of the Old West, El Paso's Waco Tanks, Mexican Revolution sites in El Paso, and many more El Paso TV documentaries on KRWG-TV.
Saturday at 12 noon on KRWG-TV.
Watch MHZ Worldview on Digital Broadcast Channel 22.2. Every day, world news and public affairs, and every night, international dramas, all in English or with English subtitles. Worldview is also available on Comcast Channel 395 in Las Cruces and 399 in Silver City and Spectrum Channel 1271 in El Paso. Become a member anytime at krwg.org.
And welcome back. You're watching News 22 Tuesday,
where news matters.
A longtime Las Cruces tradition is back in the City of the Crosses.
This weekend, I was able to catch some of the events that were part of the Las Cruces International Mariachi Conference.
NMSU Corbett Center was the home for mariachi and dance students Thursday and Friday. They learned traditional songs from Mariachi Cobre, and they not only taught but also arranged the music and gave students anecdotes from their years as professional musicians. The Las Cruces International Mariachi Conference has seen students develop into professional mariachis. One mariachi who once attended the conference is Mariachi Cobre's very own Joe Baca. Baca says Las Cruces Mariachi Conference is special because students and teachers work closely together.
Here, what we have is kind of that hometown feel, but at the same time, we get the quality of every other conference that's around the United States. The main thing that we concentrate on in Cobre is the true musical education of these students.
The Mariachi Conference also included a student showcase competition, vocal competition, and a professional concert. More than 300 students attended this year.
We want to keep it focused on the students. That's our main goal. When these participants come in, we want to give them a solid education. We want to provide the culture and the heritage and the traditions to pass down, and we want to make sure that they're getting a good music education. So the focus and the goal is to keep it on the students.
The Mariachi Conference ended with a free concert at the Plaza downtown with Mariachi Atzlan from University of Texas Rio Grande Valley.
Organizers say this conference was good, but they hope to be even better at next year's conference, which they're already planning. Las Cruces residents will get a chance to watch and listen as the New Mexico State Music Department puts on their 49th Jazz Festival and Jumpstart. This year's theme is Women in Jazz, and the festival will feature 3 female professors of jazz that have played all over the world. Every year, young musicians are given the opportunity to learn from these professionals while playing for them and even attending clinics.
The whole purpose of this is the Jazz Jumpstart, and we bring in high school and middle schools to help them get a start on their new jazz music that they're going to be doing next semester.
The NMSU Music Department is excited to help promote jazz music and jazz education. The festival will be at Atkinson Recital Hall on Wednesday and Thursday and is free for anyone to attend.
The Southern New Mexico Diabetes Association is trying to help you understand your chances of getting diabetes. To do that, they're sponsoring free blood glucose screenings. More than 100 million U.S. adults live with prediabetes or diabetes. The latest screenings were today here on campus at the Activity Center. The American Heart Association says you may want to think about getting your blood pressure checked.
Based on new guidelines released this week, nearly half of all Americans are now considered to have high blood pressure. Mary Maloney has today's Health Minute.
Is your blood pressure too high? According to brand new guidelines released by the American Heart Association Monday, nearly half of all Americans now are considered to have a blood pressure that is too high. The old guidelines said that a person with a blood pressure of 140/90 or higher had high blood pressure. With the new guidance, both men and women should be treated if their blood pressure is 130/80 or higher.
Reducing the blood pressure under 130/80, lower than what we thought before, prevents more heart attacks, prevents more strokes, and prevents death. And so that's why the guidelines have changed.
This does not mean millions of Americans now need medication, but doctors say Americans do need to make some lifestyle changes, including watching their salt intake, exercising more regularly, and getting the right amount of sleep. High blood pressure or hypertension is the second leading cause of preventable heart disease and stroke deaths in the United States. For today's Health Minute, I'm Mary Maloney.
There was another hot one in Las Cruces, but we could be cooling down soon.
Yeah, Andres is next with our national forecast.
Hey folks, taking a look at a broader view of the nation right now, you're going to see that the jet stream is actually way up here, and that's the reason why we're not seeing any of those cool temperatures for the next couple of days. What that means for us here is we're going to have some mild conditions, but the rest of the nation are going to see some weather patterns that might disrupt a meteor shower that's expected for this coming weekend. The Leonid meteor shower, which can be seen on our next map, is the reason why certain areas may not see this meteor shower because of weather patterns that they're affecting, like the Northwest. Doesn't seem like they're going to have a good chance for them, but here in the borderland, we're going to have a great chance to see them. It's going to happen Friday night into Saturday morning, so it's going to happen mostly around midnight into the early hours by dusk. So the next map can show you little fun facts about the meteor shower coming this coming weekend. These meteors actually go up to 161,000 miles per hour across the sky. The first meteor shower was seen in the 10th century. And usually there's a meteor storm, which means the sky is lit up so much, but obviously we're not going to see that for this coming year. We do have a cold front moving in. I'll let you know in your 5-day forecast. The weekend always in view. You're watching KRWG News 22.
Travel along the Western Front in Lorraine, France, visiting the cities of Verdun and Metz, and experiencing World War I history in an active way on Travels with Darlie.
Sunday at 4 p.m. on KRWG-TV.
On Masterpiece.
You have responded to the call to defend your country.
Can he be trusted?
More to the point, can you?
I love you.
Is he my son?
Who else's could he be?
I may soon have a real battle to fight. Spare me this one.
Poldark, the season finale on Masterpiece.
Sunday at 8 p.m. on KRWG-TV.
On Masterpiece.
There was a stranger who came by a while ago. He wasn't a shipmate.
I'm going back to New York. And I want you to come with me.
This is not a cause. This is a business.
I can't do what you can!
There's just you, me, and your brother. That's it.
We're here to make an arrest, madame.
The Collection on Masterpiece.
Sunday at 9 p.m. on KRWG-TV.
Thanks for tuning back in, guys. Let's take a look at our current temperatures across the state of New Mexico. Right now, temperatures are still pretty mild out there. 66 in Albuquerque, 65 in Socorro, 69 here even in Las Cruces, 67 in Deming. Our expected highs, we're going to keep those mild temperatures out for the rest of the state. 63 in Clovis, 61 in Ruidoso, 72 in Socorro, 76 in Las Cruces, and 78 in Deming. For tonight, Alamogordo, we're going to see clear skies, 46 is your expected low. Some partly cloudy skies for tomorrow, a high of 74. TRC, 48 is your expected low, 75 for your expected high for tomorrow. Silver City, a low is expected at 44 as well, and a high of 72. And here in the City of the Crosses, we're going to keep it pretty mild out here, 47 degrees with partly cloudy skies for tonight, and a high of 76 with mostly sunny skies. Like I said, we do have that cold front moving in for your weekend. Just how cool we're going to get is coming up.
The FBI has added a new fugitive to its top 10 wanted list.
That's the first story in tonight's Southwest Minute.
Jesus Roberto Munguia was charged with the 2008 kidnapping and murdering of his wife in Las Vegas. The FBI says Munguia forced her into the car, tied her up, then beat her to death. Munguia is a member of the Southern California gang, DIPA 13. He also has a violent criminal history. The FBI believes he may have fled to Mexico. A man is under arrest and charged with stealing a car that had a 3-year-old child asleep in the back seat. San Antonio police issued an Amber Alert on Monday. Authorities eventually found the child and car after someone reported the suspect in an interstate rest area. Victor Miguel Torres is in jail. The boy is safe and unhurt. Authorities say at least 5 people, including a gunman, are dead after a shooting in various places in Northern California. Some shots were fired at a school, and some students and 1 adult were injured. Police killed the gunman. Investigators recovered a semi-automatic rifle and 2 handguns the gunman used. This has been Zach Covert with the Southwest Minute.
And Aggie women basketball is back today.
And here to give us the latest on sports is Kristen Mistretta.
Thanks, guys. Find out how the men's and women's basketball teams did in their season openers, and we'll be right back with News 22 Sports.
We had a high proportion of Latinos die in that war.
We're going to go over there and kill indigenous people. You lie in bed with a black dude, the next bed, you know, aren't we indigenous people?
We are dying at twice the rate of all other soldiers in Vietnam.
The war never goes away.
Wednesday at 8 p.m. on KRWG-TV.
On Masterpiece.
Bassett is the new order. I am the old. He seeks to overthrow me. And? I would like you to help me prevent him. And how would I do that?
Dear Lord, my wife is unsuited to this life. Guide thou my footsteps toward a suitable replacement.
Since Aunt Agatha's death, there scarce been 2 words between us.
Elizabeth is not a Poldark. She was. And so is her son.
Poldark. On Masterpiece.
Thursday at 8 p.m. on KRWG-TV.
This is KRWG-TV News 22 Sports.
Welcome back. I'm Kristen Mistretta, and let's talk sports. The Aggie women's basketball team is on the hardwood right now at the Pan American Center. They're looking to turn things around from their last game. In their season opener this past Sunday, the Aggies lost to Western Michigan. The Aggies and the Broncos were tied at the end of the third quarter, 45-45. And the Aggies started out strong in the beginning of the fourth quarter. They took the lead 49-45, but Western Michigan quickly replied with a 16-point scoring streak. The Aggies then trailed 61-49, but managed to get a few more points before the end of the game. The Aggies took their first defeat of the season, 64-55. The men's basketball team is now 1-1 for the season. The Aggies won their season opener against East Central University with a blowout. The Aggies held ECU to only 30 points in the second half, while NMSU scored 50 points. The final score was 81-55. The Aggie men also played last night and lost to St. Mary's in Moraga, California. In the first half, the lead switched off between both teams 14 times, but in the second half, St. Mary's put a stop to that and dominated the Aggies. The final score was 92-74. The NMSU volleyball team is coming off of a strong win against CSU Bakersfield this past Saturday. The Aggies swept the Roadrunners in the first 3 sets, with Cassandra Tome leading the team with 17 kills and 1 block. The volleyball team is now preparing for the WAC volleyball tournament in Edinburgh, Texas. They are going into the tournament as the #1 seed, and in their first game will be playing either CSU Bakersfield or Seattle U. In high school football, the Centennial Hawks traveled to Rio Rancho this past Friday to play in the first round of the state playoffs. Going in, the Hawks had the #12 seed, and their competitors, the Rio Rancho Rams, had the #5 seed. The Hawks took a tough beating, losing 24-7. Now Rio Rancho moves on to the quarterfinals to take on the Las Cruces High Bulldogs, who are the #4 seed. The game will be at 7 this Friday at the Field of Dreams and should be a tough battle. And that's all for sports tonight. Join us for more sports action tomorrow. Still ahead on News 22, Andres will be back to take a look at your 5-day forecast. But first, one person sees pink instead of the traditional red, white, and blue on Veterans Day. More on that when News 22 continues.
To tell you. Behold the true story of how an old Jewish play traveled the world, only to be shut down on Broadway.
For obscenity.
In the Tony-winning production of a powerful new play, Indecent.
Isn't it good?
good, Rivkele. Isn't it good?
on great performances.
Friday at 8 p.m. on KRWG-TV.
Next time on A Chef's Life. Green onions have a wonderful aroma, and I love to grill them. We're doing a fundraiser, and the most exciting part about this is that we're doing the dinner with the Ava brothers. I can clog right now.
Saturday morning at 10 on KRWG-TV.
Welcome back. Let's take a look at our top stories. Last weekend, we celebrated our veterans. A Veterans Day parade was held in Las Cruces for all to attend. We showed you what it's like for soldiers who return home. There are many struggles servicemen face, and just like other students, tuition is one of those problems. And this past Sunday wrapped up the Las Cruces International Mariachi Conference. The conference made its return to Las Cruces this year and celebrated its 24th anniversary.
This past Veterans Day weekend, the pregnant wife of a fallen Navy corpsman discovered her baby's gender with a little help. Navy Corpsman Ryan Laurie passed away in a military plane crash 1 month after he married his wife Cassie. Then Cassie discovered she will always have a piece of him on Veterans Day. The baby's gender was revealed, and the baby is due in March and will be named Ryan in honor of her father.
It's a nice story.
It's a great story.
That's awesome.
What are the next 5 days looking like, Andres?
Well, the next 5 days, well, we're going to stay pretty warm. That's up until Friday. Look at that, 79 does not feel like fall. We are in the second week, or is it third week of November now? Thanksgiving is next week. But look at that, we have some relief. A cold front moving in for your Saturday. Temperatures dipping down to about average, but we still haven't had our first freeze. Usually that should have happened last week. So, seems like it's another warm week for us here.
And don't forget, you can catch all of today's aired stories and past newscasts on our YouTube page at youtube.com/KRWG News22. And
follow us on Twitter and Instagram for show updates and the latest on what the News 22 team is up to. And that's all for News 22 Tuesday. Thank you everyone for joining us tonight.
Thank you. I'm Stephanie Muñiz.
I'm Andres Valle.
And I'm Mike Vihil. Have a good night.
This news brief in Español is brought to you by Noticias 22, Spanish language news for southern New Mexico and West Texas. Noticias 22.
Hola, ¿qué tal? Los saludo con mucho gusto Raquel López en este breve informativo de Noticias 22. Un hombre de Las Cruces fue arrestado por secuestrar y agredir sexualmente a un adolescente. Johnny Christopher Wilson López, de 34 años, es acusado de un delito de secuestro y penetración sexual de una menor de 14 años. De acuerdo con la policía, el adolescente escapó de su casa después de discutir con un familiar. La adolescente trató de esconderse de su familia y de un oficial detrás de una casa móvil donde vive Wilson. Wilson López vio a la menor y la empujó debajo de su casa móvil para evitar que los oficiales la detectaran. Fue ahí donde Wilson agredió sexualmente a la menor. Las autoridades dijeron que la adolescente intentó detener a Wilson López, pero que estaba armado y la amenazó con una pistola. Después del incidente, Wilson llevó a la menor a un cobertizo y cerró la puerta, pero la menor pudo escapar una vez de que él se fue. Wilson López fue arrestado el viernes por la noche y fue ingresado al centro de Doña Ana, donde está detenido sin fianza. En el medio del este, tripulaciones de emergencia de Irán cavaron entre escombros en una frenética búsqueda de sobrevivientes el lunes después de un poderoso terremoto cerca de la frontera iraquí. Han muerto más de 500 personas y miles han sido heridos en el terremoto más letal del año. El terremoto ocurrió después de las 9 de la noche del domingo y también se sintió en los países cercanos de Turquía. Para Noticias 22, yo soy Raquel López.